level of uncertainty that you face when you're giving this exam, it just takes a toll on your mental health. Most people ask me why and how did you keep going? The real answer is that many a times I just sat down and I said, "मुझे नहीं करना है, मुझे नहीं करना है. I'm done with this because this is not worth it. Is it worth my time? Is it worth these tears? Is it worth the emotional torture?" But in those days, I mean, I think it's been so long that I had forgotten those feelings, and right now I can feel it in my tummy, those butterflies and having to call up your family. And let me tell you, your self-worth does not come from clearing an exam. UPSC is a career choice. It is not your life. Most important thing I think is, what is your motivation? Why are you giving this exam? And is your motivation a positive motivation? I mean, movies में दिखाते हैं Bollywood में, but you can't have an entire life career on the basis of that revenge, right? Revenge is a very negative emotion, and do not confuse revenge with motivation. I see that you are making such good progress and you're taking real concrete efforts. Like, I follow your Telegram group.
Hello, I'm Sonali. I'm a counseling psychologist at LevelUp IAS. Thank you all of you for giving a good response to our one-to-one counseling sessions and workshops. More activities will be planned for you throughout these months. So from all these individual sessions that I have been having with aspirants, one theme is emerging about how to develop a correct mindset. Because all it takes is a healthy mindset to sail through the process of UPSC preparation. And I remember I was reading a book by Carol Dweck on mindset. She says that when you are entering a mindset, it is a whole new different world. In one world of a fixed mindset, success is all about proving you are smart or talented, fighting for validation from self for others. And in another world of growth mindset, you are relaxed and you are stretching yourself to learn, develop and flourish. And I started reading more about her work. Instantly I knew that I have to share this approach with all the UPSC aspirants. As I was pondering on these thoughts, how to plan and how to bring this wisdom to all of you, I could think of no other person but Miss Rujuta Bankar, who I have seen her demonstrate the growth mindset in multiple roles of her life. It is going to be very interesting to learn from her what is this growth mindset and how this mindset can transform your approach to the UPSC preparation and beyond. So today I welcome Miss Rujuta Bankar, who is an ICLS officer. She had secured All India rank 325 in UPSC CSE 2018. Currently, she is serving as Assistant Registrar of Companies, Maharashtra and Mumbai at Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So introducing the dynamic and multifaceted Rujuta, whose journey as a UPSC aspirant is just one chapter of her inspiring story. Beyond her dedication to civil services, she has flourished as an exchange student, avid reader. She has worked as a lawyer before being an officer, a passionate traveler, and an enthusiast for all the things positive and enriching in life. I invite you, Rujuta, today to share your experiences and the power of growth mindset. Hello.
Thank you, Sonali, for that really wonderful and warm introduction, and that was a very generous introduction. Thank you so much for having me. This is a topic that is very close to my heart. Otherwise, these days, when I'm invited, I tell people कि corporate regulation के बारे में सवाल हो तो मुझे बुलाओ. UPSC की journey को, it's been a couple of years, and there are so many new people coming in. But mental health of UPSC aspirants, it's something that is not talked about enough at all. And I see that you are making such good progress and you're taking real concrete efforts. Like, I follow your Telegram group. You should join it if you've seen it. So it's so helpful for me as well, you know, not only as an aspirant, but you have to think about what is your mindset when you give this exam, and I think you're taking amazing efforts towards that end. So I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Rujuta, for appreciating the efforts. So yes, today we will reveal all about your insights, and I'm very happy to have you here. So Rujuta, how did it all begin? Why did you think of entering this service or UPSC preparation?
So I was actually quite young when I was about 16 years old. I received this scholarship from Rotary International as an exchange student to go to the US. And After being there and after being exposed to so many individuals from around the world, my first thought was that I want to work for my own government. However, that kind of took a backseat once I went into law college, and then I was completely focused on law. But then towards the end of my law school, then I again thought that maybe I should revive this, and that's how the journey started.
Okay, that's wonderful. And how did you prepare? So once you decided that you're going to prepare for UPSC, how was it with your family, and where did you prepare? We would like to know about that.
So it took me quite a while to clear the exam. I cleared in my 5th attempt. In the beginning, when I started, the first couple of years I was in Delhi, and after that I went back to Mumbai in SEAC, and then I was in Pune. Because I started working after my first 2 attempts, and then I cleared the exam from Pune. How I started in Delhi, that I think is really kudos to my parents, because now I wonder how did they send me to Delhi, because I came to Delhi 6 months after the Nirbhaya incident happened, like 6 months. And for my parents, who, I mean, it's a simple middle class family in Pune, for them to agree to send me to Delhi to pursue my dreams after everything that was going around in the news back then, that was, I think, a very big deal. And they encouraged me, and they said that this is your dream, so go ahead and move to Delhi. So that's how the journey started. I moved to Delhi in 2013, May of 2013. I mean, right after I gave my exams, my final exams, and then I came.
It must have been challenging. So we will come to the life challenges. Before that, we would really like to know, how did you deal with the failures? Because you just mentioned that there were multiple attempts. You were clearing your prelims and you were giving your mains, but during your 5th attempt only you went till interview. So how did you deal with it?
Like you mentioned, I always kept clearing the prelims. So I was always in this mindset that itna kya hi difficult hoga. So when I began initially, the first setback was not so much of a setback, because you tend to think 6 attempts कौन लेता है? You know, you're really confident when you begin your preparation. आपको लगता है कि इतना इसमें क्या है? So when I started the first attempt, I couldn't clear, but I just missed by a few marks. So I thought कि अभी थोड़े ही changes करने हैं. But after when I couldn't clear the second and the third time, I was really in shock, because I had given mains and I thought I couldn't figure out what exactly is going wrong. So what I did was, I did a lot of introspection. Most people ask me, why and how did you keep going? The real answer is that many a times I just sat down and I said, मुझे नहीं करना है, मुझे नहीं करना है. I'm done with this, because this is not worth it. Is it worth my time? Is it worth these tears? Is it worth the emotional torture that honestly it is an emotional torture, let me be honest. Is it worth all of this? Right now I can sit here and I can say that it is worth it. But during that period, I think there are 2 things. One is the kind of support system that you build around yourself. And the second is the personal coping mechanism that you have. So those are the 2 things.
Right.
Yes.
So of course we will talk about your support systems also in detail, but you just mentioned that there were questions at time that is it worth it? But somehow I feel that you still kept telling yourself that it's just not yet. You looked at it as not your error or failure, but you kept learning from whatever is missing from your preparation, and you made sure that you're not stuck into the tyranny of, now, because it happens. I can see that many aspirants tend to feel that now I'm not able to prove myself, who am I? And how do I make sense of all these years of preparation, all these years of hard work, and who am I? So that in a way gets them into, proving themselves, and it really makes them dependent on the validation of others also. It's possible. I mean, when you are in that phase, when you are seeing that, there is something like failure, but you made sure that you're looking at it just as not yet and kept going, and you were able to take the support which was available, because I think that is also important, how to take the support from your family and friends.
I think when 4 years after you cleared the exam and after you have faced all sorts of joy, to look back upon it and make it seem blood, sweat and tears to glory kind of a journey seems a little bit of a post facto rationalization to me. When you're in the thick of things, it does not seem like, मतलब हम लोग जो we go and watch these sport biographies, you know, where they are like workout करते हैं, ऐसे गाना आता है, फिर montage होता है, and then they go and then they win the thing is that the level of uncertainty that you face when you're giving this exam, it just takes a toll on your mental health, because you just don't know that I am giving 100%, my 110%. Is it enough to clear the exam? मुझ में कुछ कमी है? Like, is there something which I am lacking, or is it beyond, or are these factors that are beyond my control? Do I blame my destiny? Do I blame luck? Do I blame myself? And आगे का क्या? Like, what will happen? The second thing is like comparison. One is you blaming yourself, and two is feeling jealous and inadequate when you compare yourself to others. All your peers, people you gave the exam with, your college with, school friends, they will be clearing, people are getting jobs, people are getting married, people are traveling the world, and you are sitting here thinking, it's like a treadmill. Yeah, I am moving, but I'm in the same place. Okay, and there are a lot of things that you gain, but they're all mental, intellectual, and personal growth. So you have nothing to show. So those are the two main issues that I think we tend to feel. We talk about how did I keep myself going. I believed a lot in visualization. I don't know whether it's manifestation or something like that. I had that name of the post that I want on my study table, and I used to only think that I want this. I am going to do that. So I had a very strong support system, that I have to agree, because after 2 to 3 attempts, what happened was I said, I'm not going to fill the form. I'm done with this. This is not worth the amount of pain that it's causing me. So when I refused to fill the form, I remember my friends, the people who I was preparing with, they came home and they told my parents that she's not filling the form and you have to do something. And also my mentor in Pune, my mother called him and said, she is not filling the form, what do we do? And so there are times when you don't believe in yourself, but those around you believe in you so much, they believe in your ability so much, that self-belief comes back. It is very important to surround yourself with these kind of people. And of course, you cannot say that there are only these kind of people in life. We have all kinds of people. So I would just cut off those rotten people from my life. ये नहीं चाहिए इसको, इससे बात भी नहीं करनी है ऐसे लोगों से, because there are very negative people.
Like, now it seems that you just did it like
it
that.
Is difficult. It is difficult, but there are people who are very negative, or ऐसे कि क्यों कर रही है, छोड़ दे, come practice law. I mean, they are well-meaning, but then people tend to say things. But then you have to surround yourself with positive people, and you have to believe in yourself. And those are two very important things when you keep going. And the third thing is having a very sustainable plan B.
So I'm meeting a lot of aspirants who are telling me that they couldn't clear prelims of 2024 and they're really struggling to get back into the momentum of study. So what would you tell them, Rujuta?
The first thing, most important thing I think, is what is your motivation? Why are you giving this exam? And is your motivation a positive motivation? What I mean by a positive motivation is, do you want to do this in order to help your family, in order to serve your country, in order to find a job that is commensurate with your abilities? Okay, these are important factors. That why do I want to do this? What is it that the job is giving me? The job could also be giving you perks and privileges, which are very low on the pecking order, but they are real. Okay, you cannot forget that. I cannot be delusional and say that those are not factors. Financial security, that's an important factor. Getting an opportunity to be in a position where you can make a real change, and at the same time having the resources and facing such challenges which are unprecedented. Because when you don't have the resources, you have to innovate, and you can see very good impact of that innovation. You can positively influence lives. So these are positive motivations. What I consider negative motivations, And you might think I'm judging people, but I am. I admit it, I am. Just thinking that this is going to give me so much social popularity, it is going to give me validation, या मैं दिखा दूंगा उसको, that person had broken up with me, फिर वो regret करेगी मेरा Instagram देख के कि ये तो star बन गया. That's ridiculous because that is very short-lived. You can't have an entire life career. I mean, movies में दिखाते हैं Bollywood में, but you can't have an entire life career on the basis of
that
revenge, right? Revenge is a very negative emotion, and do not confuse revenge with motivation. Motivation is a positive feeling. It is about thinking how I'm going to be a force of change, and just thinking that I will become a popular social media star, or thinking, I mean, that is why I really thought, you know how much I hesitated even before coming for this interview. It is because right now I'm so neck deep in work that I feel like I want my work to speak for myself. Social media पे जाके वो सब नहीं चाहिए. क्यों नहीं चाहिए? Because at times it's taking away from your work. Like for example, I have an Insta page and I thought that okay, I can update about like my training and I have so many thoughts, like I have a blog as well. I thought I'll be able to record it. And there's nothing wrong with, of course, having a social media page. That's wonderful. You can interact with so many people, you know. But like when you're on the field, and like I remember, I summoned the director of a company and I was questioning him with respect to financial irregularity. And the person is like, "Ma'am, कल आपका Instagram देखा, आप वहाँ पे मसूरी गई थी घूमने." And I was like, what is this? I mean, it should stop me from doing what I am doing, but at the same time, I don't want that to be the focus. I want that, okay, what is the work that I'm doing and I want to do it well. So coming back to the point, what is your motivation? Why are you doing this? If you're doing it for motivations that are external to the job that you will be doing, then please consider a different career.
And isn't it also true that when you start preparation, knowing these motivations, like knowing the why I am entering, that helps you to sustain the preparation,
exactly,
as well as during the your training and service.
Definitely,
because then
definitely.
you can be so overwhelmed by the work or many other factors.
See, that motivation, it doesn't serve you only during preparation. It serves you even when you're in service, because trust me, so many days now you will be like, इसके लिए क्या था सबको, you know, because some days are very, very challenging, as it is with any career. So I had written a little note to myself on my phone that I mean, for the first 2 years of my preparation, I had like a analog, I think it's called an analog, basic Nokia wala phone tha mere paas. Baad mein when I got a smartphone, I had written a little note for myself. So I would keep reading that note again and again. So I would recommend that, you know, you can write a letter to yourself, a note to yourself, which you don't have to share with anyone. This is very personal. It is extremely personal. I understand that. And so that my parents can hold their head up high in society, stay leke, so that I am working for the government and for the country, so that I have that emblem, golden emblem above my name on my visiting card. I mean, these are very small symbolic things, and that golden emblem is just for yourself to look. अरे हाँ, मैं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के लिए काम कर, like I am implementing the ideals of the constitution. That was a big one for me, having studied law. The motivation, that is a very important thing. So right now, if you're facing failure, go back, introspect. Is it that I'm doing it? Is it worth it? That I think is your first, very most important thing. Second is be realistic. What I mean by being realistic is, I'm not at all being a downer. I mean, लोगों को लगता है that she's underestimating, why is she saying have a plan B? But that is actually a very practical thing to do. UPSC preparation is like a little bit of a chakravyuh that you don't know how to get out of once you've gotten in. The problem is that what is it, the sunken cost theory, हाँ? कि मतलब आप लोग इतने साल, इतने hours, इतनी मेहनत डाली है that you think और थोड़ा सा हो जाएगा, और थोड़ा सा हो जाएगा, and in that you get so stuck that it's impossible to come out of it.
Correct. So somewhere you are saying that yes, keep going, but at the same time know how many attempts you are going to give and have your plan B as well. So I think that is a very important message to note.
I think this is something that has come to me from experience, that going in, have a plan of how you're going to come out. You don't have to come out, but that what is the second thing that I'm going to keep doing. So for example, my rule of thumb is, while talking to aspirants, Your first 2 attempts should be full-fledged, like no other distraction. Distraction can be in terms of, for example, giving a state PSC or giving a banking exam. In the first 2 attempts, I'm saying only. Okay, in the first 2 attempts, your full focus should be on UPSC. Take your family in the loop. They need to know. Okay, take your family in the loop. Tell them कि okay, मुझे year this to year this, I'm going to do it. So you, then that uncertainty वाला जो element होता है ना, वो कम हो जाता है. Okay, that this time I'm going to do this. From the 3rd year, I will start preparing for these exams. Now these exams can be, it can be a CAT, it can be an RBI CB exam, it can be your state PSC, whatever you think are your sustainable plan B. Like I was a lawyer, so that was what it was for me. Because what is happening is, then it is making you very sure that okay, मुझे बस 2 साल पूरे देने हैं अपने, and then you can do it simultaneously. So I think that is very important,
Right.
is having a plan B.
Plan B, and while explaining that, you also told us very good point that keep your family in loop, because otherwise what happens with many people is that family doesn't really have the idea of these attempts.
Exactly.
And when the result comes in, they are very scared, they are full of emotions, and they don't know how to process their own emotions,
Right.
and then face parents, how to explain
That's true.
them. So I think keeping parents in loop from the beginning is very important.
Yeah,
For
Bobby.
you yourself also.
You know, remembering those days, I mean, I think it's been so long that I had forgotten those feelings, and right now I can feel it in my tummy, those butterflies, and having to call up your family, and yeah, it's very difficult. Like having to call them up and say that I didn't clear and one more year, it's difficult. So I think you should prepare them beforehand. Do not feel so ashamed and so embarrassed that you end up lying to them, because I think there is no greater burden than having to lie to those that are close to you. And there are certain news articles that we have been reading these days where people, just the pressure of UPSC was so much that they
And
felt
self-created.
like self-created pressure, yes, but it's a real pressure. I mean, when your peers are succeeding and you're not, you start questioning your self-worth. And let me tell you, your self-worth does not come from clearing an exam. UPSC is a career choice. It is not your life. You cannot equate yourself with being an officer. Like even today, for me, that humility and gratitude are 2 very important things that my family has kind of drilled into my brain. That like my father always is like, Ali moti officer, or like the small, like he'll make fun of me, so that really keeps me grounded. Like he's like, don't मतलब खुद को ज़्यादा build up मत करो, keep your feet firmly on the ground. So do not think that if you become an officer, life में बहुत बड़ा तीर मार लिया. I'm sorry to use such kind of a language, but unfortunately what I see around me is shocking. It is an exam. I mean, yes, you are serving the country. Yes, there are days and nights and weekends and all the time that you could be doing something else that you are. But then people are contributing to the Indian economy and they are working days and nights and weekends. There are startup founders who are, I mean, everyone is doing their best, right? So you have cleared an exam, and yes, the numbers are crazy. Like you are among the few hundreds out of a few lakhs. So yes, it is a big deal. I agree. But that doesn't make you a demigod. And you need to tell that to aspirants. Why are you going out and creating this "main bada star ban gaya" image? Yeah? I mean, come on. It is an exam that you've cleared and you're doing amazing work, but let, again, the same theme, let your work speak for yourself. You need not.
And yeah, as you said very nicely, that this is not the end. Right?
Yes.
And this is our 3rd interview in the series, and the previous selected candidates also have mentioned that UPSC is not equal to you. There are other facets to life.
Exactly.
So yes, it is completely, like, totally noteworthy, and I'm sure it will help aspirants to know from you.
If I may just intervene, I think what we need to focus on, now this will seem maybe superficial, but I mean, I'm honestly telling you, what we need to also think about is what kind of an individual am I? What is your nature? What is your personality? What are your likes and dislikes? And what is the career path that you would like to choose? If you are an amazing individual, you will be an asset in any organization that you go to. And if you have leadership qualities, if you have the EQ, if you can maintain your emotions and you have, like you said, that growth mindset, that excellence mindset, UPSC preparation,
I will keep knowing
exactly
about myself,
so
good as well as negative aspects, and I will keep building on
exactly
them nonetheless.
So UPSC journey, for what I think is, it is about discovering the best version of you. I really see that. So after becoming an officer, if you are going to be rude to people, for example, or if you're going to be incompetent at your job, then there is no point in clearing the exam. At the same time, if you fail to clear the exam, but you go in some other field and you are an amazing individual, your colleagues and all are very happy with you, your bosses are happy with you, and you are good at your job, you're competent at your job. Like Mr. Arvind Subramaniam, he was our chief economic advisor. He couldn't clear the UPSC exam, and he was our CEA. I mean, come on, it doesn't get bigger than that, right? So ऐसे नहीं कह सकते कि only if you clear UPSC then I have succeeded in life. And I think that is the kind of environment that we are living in right now, that if you clear UPSC you have succeeded in life, but that's not true. At the same time, I cannot say that clearing UPSC hai to theek hi hai. It is amazing. On this side, it is great. I mean, the opportunities and the challenges that I am getting, I am very, very happy with that. I have to admit. So you have to keep, मतलब rationalize करो कि ये मुझे ये मेरा career है, and these are the other things that I also want to do in life. For example, what is your life goal, and is your career giving you the opportunity to fulfill that life goal? Yeah. So bigger picture. I think that's what it is.
When the new batch starts, and after 3 or 4 months, many aspirants are coming to me and they are saying that, ma'am, there is just so much to study, so much to do, so much to learn, so much to absorb, and we don't know how to prioritize, how to juggle all these things, and everything is important. So are there any study tips or managing the content? How would you look at it, and what would you suggest the aspirants?
When I look back upon my UPSC journey, I think the first year I was really very clueless. UPSC preparation, in my head, I think it follows like a bell-shaped curve. Okay. Like in the beginning, you are like completely clueless, and slowly, as you get to know more, you start feeling invincible. Like you go amongst your, like you go back home, or you go meet your college friends and इनको तो कुछ नहीं आता है. मैं हिंदू पढ़ती हूँ, मेरे को सब आता है. You know, you feel like I read so much about the public policy, about IR, because basically you are getting to know. So in the beginning,
have explored it.
Yeah. So it doesn't mean that it's in depth. You know, it's पर हमें लगने लगता है that we know it all. In the beginning, एकदम clueless. Then slowly we start feeling, अरे ये भी है. Then you start feeling like I know so much. बाकी किसी को कुछ नहीं आता. मतलब compared to non-aspirant. So you feel as an aspirant, मुझे history, geography, economy सब कुछ आता है. Then as you face that first failure, okay, then that is where you start feeling, यार मुझे कुछ भी नहीं आता. Then again your little curve starts going down. What I personally think when it comes to the study tips is, हर बार मुझे कितना आता है, मुझे कितना नहीं आता, kind of get away from that and think about concretizing the things that you need to know. When it comes to UPSC syllabus, it is famously said it's anything and everything under the sun. Now, how do you limit yourself? How do you say that this is how much I want to study? For me, what really helped was planning, like crazy amount of planning. My sister used to joke that I'm a robot and I probably like plan my pee breaks and all. So planning is very much important. So what I would recommend is do reverse planning. Like, when is your exam? Okay, if you're giving the May-June attempt of pre, then do reverse planning as to when will I start doing only pre-studies? When is the last mains test series and optional test series I will do? When should I finish my optional? Like ideally, I would recommend like November, December, before your pre, you should finish your optional, like reading your optional. So उस type का आप एक पूरा reverse planning करो कि अगर May में exam है, then Jan end या Feb first week I'm going to do extensive only pre-preparation, or maybe if it's your first attempt, maybe a little bit before that. So, if you start doing reverse planning, no, that I have to finish my GS 1, 2, 3 by this month, and then suddenly you realize I have no time when you do the reverse planning. So, take a big calendar, and in that calendar, just one day sit and mark for the entire year that this is what my year is going to look like. these are the months I'm going to be doing these subjects. And वो होता है macro planning, एक reverse mode में एक macro plan. And then as the months come in, then you start doing the micro planning. That okay, if this month in my grand plan I had said that I'm going to do finish my optional by December, then maybe paper 1 I need to finish by this month. Then if October is coming around and you're like okay, paper 1 मुझे paper 1 में ये topics खत्म करने थे, then I have these 4 weeks. In these 4 weeks, these are the topics I'm going to finish. Then at the beginning,
a blend of, sorry, I'm cutting
no,
you,
go
but
ahead.
in a way, a blend of short-term goals and long-term
Exactly,
goals
exactly.
need to be intact.
Yes.
And I think that will also help aspirants to focus better, because then they are
Yes.
not trying to make sense of everything.
Exactly. So then what happens whenever you get very overwhelmed? There is so much I don't know. इतना सब पढ़ाई करना है. What you need to do is just look at your calendar. That okay, you know, because क्या होता है? One day you will be doing like a geography NCERT का revision, and suddenly दिमाग में आएगा DPSP 42 article 42 क्या है? And then you leave everything and then you sit and Google, and then it's a rabbit hole. You go from article 42 to some law and you know you go off track. So you're like okay, not now. My Lakshmikant ka week नहीं होता है, months होते हैं लक्ष्मीकांत के, but whatever, I'm going to do it then. So then you can just
park that
park कि हाँ ठीक है भाई ये अभी नहीं करना है. थोड़ा macro और micro या like you said long term short term goals. And secondly revision. Third, limit your sources. I keep saying that. Don't look at what someone else in the library is reading and then get overwhelmed that मैं ये नहीं पढ़ रहा हूँ, इसी से सवाल आएंगे, ऐसे कुछ नहीं होता है. Rather than reading 10 things for one topic, read 2 things 10 times for that topic. No, बार वो. So it is about when you're giving pre na especially, it is about how definitely you know that this is or rather is not the answer. Rather than if you read 10 things and you're like ये भी हो सकता है, ये भी हो सकता है. So I would recommend that stick to a few sources and read those sources again and again.
And I'm sure this helps in regulation of your emotions as well.
Definitely, I think that uncertainty factor that I keep talking about a lot. So planned preparation. UPSC preparation is not a shot in the dark, even though it seems like it. We always think that I will be very, very happy once I clear the exam. That is not always guaranteed. Because sometimes you clear the exam, you might get a rank that you're not happy with. You might get a rank that you're happy with. You might be confused, मुझे वो वाला cadre मिलेगा या नहीं. वो cadre भी मिल जाए, cadre में वो वाली posting मिलेगी या नहीं. So it never ends, honestly. What is in your control is, am I happy with the preparation that I've put in? Do I feel like I've given my 100%? And then I cannot control the outcome. And you never get that full satisfaction, but there is a level I think that you can achieve where you can say, I had decided I'm going to read these books. I had decided I'm going to do this amount of revision. I could achieve 80% of that.
So that sense of achievement from
Yes.
your own set goals.
Exactly. Those
That is
small
important.
victories, they matter a lot. And I think you should focus on that. Rather than getting overwhelmed by बहुत आगे की चीजें, एक plan बनाओ and try to achieve that plan. Be very systematic in how you go about in your preparation, and I think that will help a lot.
Very healthy dopamine dose
Oh,
can
yes.
be given to yourself,
Oh, yes.
I guess, when
Definitely.
you can just tick off what you have planned
That's true.
for the day, for the week, and
Yes,
then for
a
the
dopamine hack, if you will.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right, so these are very valuable study tips, and if you want to know more about some study tips by Ms. Rujuta, she is written it beautifully on her blog. The link will be provided to you in the description box, so you can visit her blog and know about study strategies more. Earlier mentioned that there were 2 support systems, external and internal. So would you like to shed some light on this?
External support system are your family and friends. Like I said before, that it's very important to surround yourself with positive people in your life. But not all of us are so lucky. Sometimes you might not have those kind of friends that you are very close to. Your family might not be in a position to support you. I think that is also possible. When that is not happening, and see, sometimes what happens now, you look at your family and friends as a support system, but you also have to realize that that exam takes a toll on them as well. And you need to act like, I did not realize that during the exam. I realized that later on when I cleared the exam, and my success was as much theirs as it was mine. Like for example, I could not be there for my best friend's wedding, and she's like someone from junior KG. She's my best friend, and I couldn't be there. Yeah, another very close friend underwent a very serious medical procedure and I couldn't be there during that. With the family, they always try to protect and cocoon you from any problems that are going on, like financial issues. There can be any sort of conflict that is happening, but they will always think, इसके एग्जाम हो जाने दो, एग्जाम के बाद बताएंगे एग्जाम. So they are taking a lot of burden on themselves also. We look at them as a support system and we are very, I think we should take a moment to feel a lot of privilege and gratitude when you do have that support system. Sometimes thank them that thank you for being in my life, because it is their support that makes us who we are. Secondly, what I was talking about is the personal coping mechanism, that in case this is not available to you.
Apart from family and friends, I can see that mentors also hold a very important role in supporting aspirants. So any specific memory with your mentors that you have that you would like to share?
I was in Delhi and Delhi was very overwhelming for me, honestly, because seeing so many people from across the country prepare for the exam makes you feel like, where do you stand in all of this crowd? After my first couple of attempts, I moved back to Pune and I prepared at Jnana Prabodhini in Pune. There we had Vivek Kulkarni sir and Savita Tai, who were our mentors and who were our everything, I think, when we were there. And both for sir and Tai, our mental health and our mindset was very important. So every Saturday, we would have meditation sessions where everyone would sit together and we would meditate. What sir and Tai, the values that they instilled in us, I think the biggest takeaway for me was to think about a mindset of cooperation rather than competition. I stopped seeing my fellow aspirants as my competitors. I know it's called a competitive exam. In that environment, we were all working together towards one goal, which was serving the country. And we would all sit together in the same library and we would share our notes. And today now I'm so happy, I'm still very close to all of them. Wherever they are posted, I go. All of us have cleared the exam and we are all at different positions. That mindset that they instilled in us of being an officer for whom values are very important. And secondly, to think about cooperation rather than competition. When someone else cleared, some of my friends cleared the exam a couple of years before me, a year before me, their victory was actually a source of joy and motivation for me that it's possible. If he has cleared it or if she has cleared it, it made me feel like I can also do it. So I did not take it negatively or jealous. Like I wasn't jealous, and that's because of the mindset that was created by our mentors. So that was very, very important. So even today, when उनके बारे में articles आते हैं, so we always share each other's interviews and articles, and sometimes we make थोड़ा fun of each other कि हाँ तुम तो ऐसे, and at the same time we are always really so encouraging, and I really like talking about my friends. And like when we were preparing, for example, when we would take chai breaks together, we would always quiz each other. हाँ ये वाला wildlife sanctuary कहाँ पे है, ये बताओ,
and from a healthy perspective,
very healthy
not
perspective.
For the competition.
Yes, and between pre and mains, like right after pre, during those few days, it would be the beginning of monsoon. So we would always go somewhere on a little trek or a little drive in that area, or we would play badminton.
Wow, this is very rare.
Yes. So we have a very close-knit group, and I think that is all thanks to our mentors who have made sure that we are there together with that kind of a mindset of supporting each other.
And apart from mindset, beyond the mindset, the environment they created, that also helped you to feel more positive emotions than those negative emotions, as you were saying.
Definitely.
Jealousy, revenge are very negative, and somewhere they hold us back.
Yes,
they create some negative impact on us in a daily life, and that can also be very stressful to deal with that internally.
Yes.
Right. So here I can see that you had that positive environment where you can
very fortunate.
Be there with the growth mindset really, and not trying to just prove yourself to the world that there was no fight or there was no cry to tell the world that see I am worthy, but rather it was about learning and growing together towards something beautiful.
That's true. And I think when we talk about the words that stuck with us, what my parents, my mother, she's quite a feisty lady, and there is this Marathi phrase, "Lath marin tithe pani kaden," which I mean roughly translated is something like, क्या मतलब wherever I kick or जहाँ पे भी effort मारेंगे, so you can ensure that you will get a spring of water from there. So even in a drought prone desert, you know, in a dry desert where there's nothing, you with your determination, with your mehnat, you can ensure that there is a spring of water there. So my mother used to always say this, and whenever I would cry to my father, my father is a very jovial man, so he would, कि तुमने डाका डाला है, चोरी की है, कुछ क्रिमिनल एक्टिविटी की है, मतलब डर किस, like he would always say like you're not doing anything wrong, what are you afraid of, why are you scared, working hard, तुम मेहनत कर रहे हो, you should be proud of yourself, you should be happy, and नाही झालं तो नाही झालं, मराठी में नहीं हुआ तो नहीं हुआ, मतलब इसे लाइफ थोड़ी खत्म हो जाएगी, मतलब so both my parents are उनके बिना तो नहीं होता, and my sister also, she, I think, not to get into the details of that, but I think her, the amount of effort that she has put in for her success, she works in Meta now, in Canada, बहुत ज़्यादा, like when working she used to juggle 3 jobs at a time, and बहुत ज़्यादा मेहनत की है, so that was also an inspiration and motivation for me. So I think this, and it is also, let me tell you, that it is your choice whether to see, like I could have looked at my sister and said, हिला बरा, like उसको सब मिल रहा है, मुझे नहीं मिल रहा है, or I could also look at her and say, look at what she is doing, I can also do the same.
Right. So
yeah,
you could just catch yourself from saying that first part and then bring yourself to say the second one and use it for your motivation.
So those who are watching this, na, you might think she is so privileged, she was an exchange student. It's that what I'm telling you is positive things, right? I am mindful of my privilege, but at the same time, it was a choice to focus on the positives. She was lucky that she found such friends. ऐसे नहीं होता है. It was a choice that each of us made. Some of them didn't share the notes. ऐसे नहीं है कि सब लोग ये लो मेरे notes. Okay, some people are very hesitant also to ask others. Of course, you are hesitant. So थोड़ा trial and error से होता है ना, that you find your tribe or your kind of people. So ऐसे, it's not an easy path.
And in between, you have to support yourself. So I was about to come to that part, that not all the time family or mentors or friends will be accessible to you.
Of course not.
So then how do you hold back?
It's a journey with yourself. In this exam, your mind is like a weapon, okay? And so you really have to have self-belief. You have to have a lot of faith in yourself. You have to constantly keep telling yourself, I have got this, I am good at this, I know what I'm doing. Only if you keep telling your mind that, only if you keep sharpening your mind, only if you keep trusting it, pampering it, कि हाँ तुम्हें आता है, only then. Otherwise, if you keep telling her, मुझे कुछ नहीं आता यार, तो एग्जाम में जाके कुछ ही नहीं आएगा ना. मतलब खुद को अच्छे से बोलो. Like, keep being nice to yourself. Right. You know, unfortunately, when I look back upon myself, I was so hard on myself. And even today, I see
Aspirants. I was about to say that we want to work hard, not harsh.
Yeah,
right? We don't want to be very harsh on ourselves.
Yes, but instead of most people are harsh. We are all aspirants. We hate ourselves. We will all just keep saying horrible things to ourselves कि अरे इसका तो देखो क्या हुआ, मुझे तो कुछ नहीं आता, ये मेरे से होगा ही नहीं,
मुझसे कुछ भी नहीं होने वाला.
I am a failure. You're not a failure. First of all, like I keep saying, this exam doesn't define you. Second, if you keep calling yourself a failure, your mind will start believing that you're a failure, which you're not. I mean, if you have chosen to give UPSC, probably you have been good at your studies. Even if you don't like studying, the journey of UPSC is a very interesting sort of a journey. So when you say that, what are the steps that one person should take? First, I would say is trust your mind, believe in your mind, believe in positive affirmations. Every single day, tell yourself that I've got this. I am only going to follow my plan.
Right.
Don't reach from 0 to 100. जब मेरा सिलेक्शन, I mean we do tend to daydream a lot, मेरा सिलेक्शन होगा, फिर मैं ये करूँगी, वो करूँगी, I will put this post, then this person will like, ये सब होता रहता है.
And then we shift to, oh अगर नहीं हुआ तो,
हाँ, and then that spiral.
Right.
So instead of all of that, just okay, I have got this. Then you focus on your plan. I would recommend that get into meditation. That it helps a lot. I used to use an app, My sister she sent me this app and she was like, you please use this, it is very helpful. It was called Calm. I used to use Calm a lot, but now there are many free apps also on Play Store if you go. So if by yourself you don't know how to meditate, just use an app and listen to that.
Mindspace is there.
Yes. Yeah. Very good app. Meditation is important. Positive affirmations, they are very important. Thirdly, I think you need to have at least an hour of relaxation time daily. And I know 1 hour sounds like a lot, but actually what I mean by 1 hour is like you can break this time. So this doesn't include lunch and dinner. So I remember we tend to do this as aspirants, that when I was preparing, so Rajya Sabha TV ke debates and all were very popular. So while having dinner also I used to watch, and All India Radio I used to listen to. But real relaxation, because your brain needs that
away
rest.
From studies.
Yes,
away from
anything.
UPSC studies.
That can be like taking a light walk, which has nothing to do with, you're not listening to podcast or news or nothing. Just taking a walk for 15 minutes to clear your mind, something like that. Listening to music. So when I say 1 hour of relaxation time, that can be 15 minutes spread throughout the day. Because what is happening now, if you don't take that planned time out for yourself, then at the end of the day, you're so exhausted, you'll take out Instagram, you'll just keep scrolling reels, or then it'll be 2 hours. And then you're like, oh, but then tomorrow I'm not going to get up on time, and then my whole schedule is missed.
So we want to indulge into some active and quality time pass.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Where you're not really just passively scrolling, or you're not just studying all the time.
So active, like you could be doodling if you like that kind of a thing. If you like reading, then non-study wala reading, but you need to give your eyes some rest. So I would recommend taking a walk, listening to music, doing yoga. Gym कुछ लोग कर सकते हैं अगर उनको अच्छा लगता है.
I think it also depends on what you really like, right? So if you have been if you have been enjoying some coloring and drawing, you are of course going to feel relieved.
Exactly.
If you have been enjoying gymming, then you are going to feel relieved after that.
Exactly. Whatever, like you were talking about, like happiness hormones. So whatever is giving you that de-stressing happiness hormones, do that. Mandala ho sakta hai, mandala art ho sakta hai, coloring books ho sakti hain.
Any other hobbies that were a part of your UPSC life?
Hobbies, I am a very avid reader. So I used to read a lot, but then during UPSC already itni padhai hoti thi. So my big reward to myself would have been like reading fiction. That would be watching movies again. So reading, watching movies, listening to music. Those were very important for me. Yes, traveling. So whenever
and that you continue now also.
Yes, between pre and mains. So when I was in Pune, as part of our interview preparation, we were sent to the Northeast, where we in Nanprabodhini. So they told us that you go and you meet all these different officers posted, and most importantly, you have to mentor and teach civil service aspirants in the Northeast, because this was way back in 2016-17. So at that time, internet penetration was very low wahan pe. So Jio was just starting, and so 4G was just reaching the mountains. Even inner line permit to abhi bhi so reaching there was not easy. Xerox, like photocopies, was so expensive. We carried boxes from here to Arunachal Pradesh, and we stayed there for 2-3 weeks, where we taught different topics. So हमारा भी revision हो गया और उनको भी. It was such a wonderful feeling कि traveling भी हो रहा है, हम लोग वहाँ जाके whatever were our strengths. Geography optional वालों ने geography सिखाया, and it was for their state PSC.
Okay.
So UPSC level का अगर आप geography सिखा रहे हो वहाँ पे geography optional का geography सिखा रहे हो, state PSC के लिए enough है. या मेरा law background है, I taught polity. So everyone chose a subject, and we taught those topics in Arunachal Pradesh. And then the upcoming year, I think a couple of years after that, there was a program that a senior SP in Kashmir, in a very area full of unrest in Kashmir. He was the SSP there, and he had initiated that program for the youth of Kashmir. Individuals from other parts of India could come and teach them. It was an amazing experience just being there, and the kind of security challenges that we saw firsthand. And there also we mentored youngsters.
Correct.
So it was a combination of hobbies and
right. It helped you, but what I would like to tell aspirants is it is also important that you grab that opportunity.
Yes.
Opportunities will always be there to relax, to grow yourself, to learn from your mistakes, but it's important how you prioritize that.
True.
And even after clearing the exam, right? Like even after clearing the exam, there will be multiple challenges, but how you take out that time for yourself to maintain your well-being, to keep growing,
Yes.
I guess that is all up to the person also. And that is what we want to tell the audience today, that this is a wonderful opportunity to learn from Rujuta, that how you can keep learning from the experiences that that are going to cherish you.
Yeah.
Right. Any specific movies or books that you would like to suggest to aspirants?
Books, there are far too many, so I will not get into that. With movies, I think I belong to the generation, I get to say that now, I belong to the generation. So I belong to the generation that was really very much influenced by Rang De Basanti and Swades. I remember very distinctly being in school and my mother taking me to watch Rang De Basanti, and that whole IAS banenge or hum badlenge is desh ko, ye desh badlega. You know, that line, it just stuck with me for years. Like that was really a motivation for me. And I would keep going back to that, like, okay, क्यों कर रही हूँ मैं, क्यों कर रही हूँ, इस चीज़ के लिए कर रही हूँ. So that when I watched Swades, the music from Swades, after that Sarfarosh. So these, you know, these set of movies I keep going back to, and I keep thinking, yes, they had a very strong impact. And I had this motivational playlist, so I would not listen to many other songs, but like mainly I would keep listening to that playlist again and again, which had songs like लक्ष्य का जो गाना है, पाएगा जो लक्ष्य तेरा, वो है, देन उसमें स्वदेश के गाने हैं, तो ऐसे काफी मोटिवेशनल, इंस्पिरेशनल, भाग मिल्खा भाग का एक है, फिर मैरी कॉम का एक गाना है, ऐसे 2-4, मतलब आई थिंक उसमें 5 ही गाने थे और 1-2 मराठी गाने उसमें थे, एंड आई वुड जस्ट कीप लिसनिंग टू दैट प्लेलिस्ट अगेन एंड अगेन. So I just like to keep things simple. वही चीज है, and just that was my
tried
motivation.
Tried and tested. There is surely a lot to learn from your inputs that you have given today. So now I would like to know, Rujuta, what role this growth mindset is playing now when you are selected and when you are serving as an officer?
I think the UPSC journey itself prepares you in a way for what will come next. Preparing for the UPSC civil service exam is a crash course in personality development, I think. Because one, it not only gives you all the knowledge that you are gaining, which I think makes you so humble and grounded. It teaches you how to cope with failure, which is so important. It teaches you discipline. It teaches you how to take the challenges as an opportunity to improve yourself. Rather than looking at a challenge as something that will bog you down, it makes you, like, I think, the best version of yourself that can be. Once you go into training, then comes the physical aspect of it. Subah utke daudate bhagate. But mentally, I think the things that I learned in the UPSC journey are what are helping me see through my professional journey today. It is the journey which gave me the leadership skills, I think, which gave me the tools that I'm able to apply today. So today, you know, when you have to, UPSC, when you clear, like you become a civil servant, it's a lot about people management. I mean, you, in a service like mine, which has so much domain expertise required, domain expertise is important, but people management, बाहर से जो लोग आ रहे हैं, you know, in the beginning, you are kind of a person where मुझे सबको मदद करनी है, मैं तो लंच भी नहीं करूंगी, आओ मदद करो. Then you realize, यार ये तो मुझे उल्लू बना के चला गया, you know, उल्लू बना के चला गया in the sense that everyone has a vested interest. Experience counts. You go in as a तड़कता भड़कता firebrand officer कि मैं दुनिया बदल दूंगा, but the truth is experience counts, and the people before you, they have done it, they know. So when you're going for UPSC interview, always keep that in mind, that आपकी जितनी उम्र है उनका experience उतना service में experience है. तो humility is important, and all these things that you learn in the UPSC journey. So in the professional field, when I now have to deal with people, to deal with staff जो सुनते नहीं है कभी कभी, तो मेरे दिमाग में आता है, यार मैंने 5 साल इतना रगड़ा, इतना घिसा. It's not for some person to come here and, you know, treat me like so, not do the job. So it gives you like this immense level of confidence that I know what I'm doing. तुक्के से तो एग्जाम पास नहीं किए मैंने, मेहनत करके, लगन से, बहुत ज़्यादा determination, बहुत sacrifices.
Again, that self-belief.
That self-belief comes from the real sacrifices that you have made. Real sacrifices your family has made, your friends have made. So it's sacrifice, it's discipline, it's dedication. It is the knowledge. I mean, you deserve it. That's why you're here. I mean, I have earned this spot. No one, it's not been handed to me on a silver platter. 5 attempts लगे हैं मुझे, मतलब easy नहीं था ये मेरे लिए, किसी के लिए भी नहीं होता है. So if you think that you really deserve it, that you are willing to make those sacrifices, have that discipline in you, you have that determination, then nothing can stop you. And then nothing can stop you from success. And do not equate success with UPSC. UPSC hua, amazing.
But it's important what you learned throughout the process.
And the fact that beyond UPSC there is a world. See, I always think, I used to have this mindset, इनका अच्छा luck है कि मेरे जैसी मेहनती person इनको मिल रही है. I used to consider, and I know this sounds extremely like I'm full of myself, but that's the kind of motivation you need to give yourself, that that's how good I am. Because I know I'm going to give my 100% to this job. I'm not here to slack. My motivation are the right kind of motivation. I know I'm going to come here and I'm going to, so I'm not contradicting myself when I say that लोगों का experience होता है और आप जाते हो with that fire brand. What I mean is that young blood, new energy is always required to move things around a little bit. So you try to learn, which is what you learn in your UPSC journey. How do I learn?
Just the extension of
it is an extension of that. If you succeed in this exam, good. The country is gaining an amazing officer. If you don't, there is a lot you can contribute towards the success in this country. Na? Then you can, maybe you will become a startup founder tomorrow. Maybe you will work in the top management of a company. Like, we don't know, maybe you will go to the grassroots and you will solve real problems. Maybe because the work that you do will lead to the passing of a new law, which is what has happened in RTI, you know. So it's like that. I mean, if you're a good, like if you are a capable individual, right, you will have an impact.
Ways to
succeed.
Contribute.
Exactly. So it's all or nothing नहीं है ये. बहुत ज़्यादा platforms or opportunities हैं.
Yes. Thank you so much, Rujuta. This coming from you means a lot to aspirants, and they must have seen today how multifaceted and how lively you are.
Thank you.
Yes, and how you have cherished your journey, and that is definitely going to be helpful for aspirants, that's for sure. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed reliving my UPSC journey. I honestly look back upon it very fondly. So today I could relive it because of you. Thank you very much.
We wish you all the best.
Thank you.